Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to Just in the Nick of Crime. We have a very disturbing case coming out of California that's getting stranger by the day. Now, if you have been following the case of missing 7-month-old Emmanuel Haro, you already know what I'm talking about. But if you're just hearing about it for the first time, this is going to be everything you need to know. And what you're about to learn is, we'll say, interesting, to say the least. This is a case that starts with a missing baby and ends in a web of silence, strange behavior, and disturbing background details. Now, real quick before we get started in here, guys, I'm looking at my TikTok audience over here. If you want to see, we're basically going to be showing things, a couple of videos and some images that you will not be able to see on TikTok. If you want to stay right here, you absolutely can. You'll still get a bulk of it, but if you want to see those details, you might want to jump over to YouTube, which is Just in the Nick of Crime. Same name is on here. Now, let's get into the story. On August 14th, 2025, Emmanuel was reported missing. And I think it's pronounced Yucaipa, whatever. I don't know. Somewhere in California. Sorry, can't say it. I am quite sure the people who love to come in and correct me for pronouncing cities wrong will be here to do that momentarily. They love to do that, even when that's not overly relevant. You guys know what I'm talking about. Nevertheless, his mother, Rebecca Harrow, called 911 on August 14th and claimed that while she was changing her son's diaper in a Big Five parking lot, someone approached her, said hola, and then, according to her, she blacked out. When she woke up, her son was gone. Now, what I will say is when she came to, she had a black eye, which a lot of people have pointed out says that it looks old, and you'll see that in another picture here momentarily. But her story was frightening. However, from the beginning, investigators noticed that something wasn't quite right. First, when infants or any missing child happens, time is of the essence. We know that. It's the first 48 hours that are the most important. So naturally, canine units were dispatched. Search parties secured the area. However, no Amber Alert was issued due to the lack of a clear suspect or even a vehicle description. Now, Rebecca's account immediately raised some red flags. First, she claimed that there were no surveillance cameras in the parking lot. However, authorities later confirmed what many suspected, that in fact there were surveillance cameras in the parking lot. And you can see some in this photo. In this photo alone, there are 4 that are circled. Now, this is all despite Rebecca saying otherwise, right? And because of this, because of these cameras, and there's actually more than what's in these pictures, a substantial amount of video evidence has been retrieved. Then Rebecca initially gave a dramatic account. She was alone with Emmanuel in the car, about to change his diaper, right? Someone said hola. She blacked out. When she came back, again, bruised, black eye, bruised face, and found that her son was missing. However, investigators noted several inconsistencies, right? Outside of the camera-free zone, she couldn't provide a clear description of the alleged assailant, despite claiming the fact that they spoke directly to her and said hola. Medical personnel questioned the nature of her injury, stating that the bruising was minor and not consistent with a blunt force trauma strong enough to cause unconsciousness. Then it was her timeline. There were notable gaps. Investigators reported her recollection of events between the arrival at the store and the time of the call were vague and pretty contradictory. After a few rounds of questioning, Rebecca ended her interview and refused to continue without legal counsel. She also declined to take a polygraph test when that was offered to her. So basically, she stopped talking. She ended communication with the detectives entirely. And so did Emmanuel's father, Jake Harrow. And for the record, though, their parents or their attorney stated that both parents had turned over electronic devices and had cooperated to a quote-unquote reasonable extent. Nonetheless, law enforcement emphasized that neither parent is currently engaging with investigators. Now, I'm going to show you guys an interview here in a second. Again, TikTok, if you guys are here, you'll have to jump over to YouTube to see it. For our Facebook, Insta, and YouTube people, you guys are fine right where you are. But let me go ahead and just get this pulled up and let you guys see this interview real quick.
Chief guys asking you to help us find our son. He was abducted last night from Big Five. Somebody struck my wife while she was trying to change his diaper. And we just ask if anybody knows anything to please contact Yucaipa Police Department.
Don't hesitate, just call.
His name's Emmanuel. He's 7 months. He's 7 months old.
been notified of any information yet by local authorities?
No, we have not.
They're not.
They haven't told us nothing.
They said they don't have any major updates.
Do you guys plan on doing a local search of your own?
We are
Yeah, we
at
have
4 o'clock here at Yucaipa. I fell on the floor, and as soon as I got up, I couldn't find my son. I got him out of the car seat, and I laid him down so I could get his diapers ready. And somebody said, "Hola," and that's all I remember. And I saw white. And a hearing sound, I fell on the floor, and as soon as I got up, I couldn't find my son. I checked around my truck, and I ran into Big 5, and I asked the lady if she saw a baby or someone with a baby. She said no. It was a happy boy. He smiled.
Whoever took our son, please give him back.
The search for this 7-month-old baby boy continues. Police and the family desperate to find out where he is.
All right. So you guys said a lot of things that I wanted you to see, and I didn't want to kind of sway you. Those tears, right? Crocodile tears. It seemed very, I don't even want to say rehearsed, just like bad acting. All right. And that interview, amongst the police interviews, started to have a ton of red flags start to pop up, right? Now, because of all of this, guess what happened? They served multiple search warrants at the Harrow family home. They brought in cadaver dogs. Now, I will tell you this, police have not said what they found, if anything, but they made one thing crystal clear, that now they cannot rule out foul play. Now, I'm going to show you guys another video here in a second. This is some footage from the night that the search warrants were done. You're going to see some of that real quick. And then we're going to talk about Jake Harrow, the dad, because there's some pretty interesting stuff there as well. Let me show you guys this first. There we go. Sorry. That didn't have a ton of, like, obviously no words, but you kind of saw what was going on. There was a lot of detectives there, a lot of investigators. They brought the cadaver dogs in. You could kind of hear dogs barking. I'm not sure if those were the cadaver dogs or not. But all of that said, let me bring this guy up real quick. Sorry, let me remove this. Why can we not see him? Oh, I know why. That's me. There we go. So let's talk about this guy. This is Jake Harrow. He's Emmanuel's father. Did you guys know? Some of y'all probably did, some probably don't. That Jake has a serious criminal history. In 2018, he was convicted of felony child cruelty. He had been sentenced to 180 days in jail and 48 months of probation. By doing that, he avoided a 6-year prison term because of a suspended sentence. He served time, got probation, and was later arrested again for illegally possessing a firearm and ammunition. This happened in 2024, and he is currently on probation as we speak, expected back in court in September, early September, for the charges on the firearm and ammunition. Now, here's what I'm going to give him a little bit of grace on. Okay, just a tiny fraction of grace. As far as anybody can tell, he was not at the scene that night. When Emmanuel went missing, he was not there. But it's kind of hard to ignore that he has refused to cooperate. And according to police, he too won't take a polygraph, and he too has stopped responding to investigators. On top of that, both he and Rebecca have allegedly changed their phone numbers, disconnected and changed their phone numbers. So the previous numbers they had are no longer in service. Now, unlike Jake, Rebecca has no known criminal record. However, her behavior following the incident has stirred quite a bit of suspicion, from that interview to what she said with police and just a bunch of other things, and authorities have not ruled her out. And the lack of cooperation has only added to the growing cloud over the case. So what began as a desperate search has now turned into a puzzle with missing pieces, and Rebecca's silence is one of the biggest gaps with that. Now, as the story grew in complexity, so did law enforcement's efforts. As we said, search warrants were served on the Harrow home, cadaver dogs were deployed, and then a statement from San Bernardino Sheriff's Department confirmed the use of multiple investigative tools, including forensic analysis and surveillance review. Now, at this point, we don't know, like I said earlier, what, if anything, they found, but we do know that shortly after they did that, they said they will not rule out foul play. All right. Now, there is something else that's interesting that's come out of this, and this is one of those things that's an interesting connection, but not necessarily relevant, but interesting enough and coincidental enough that we're going to add this. This photo right here is Rebecca's brother, James Beauchassin. He has a violent past that adds another disturbing layer to this story, right? This family. Because now we have the dad. Again, Rebecca's got no criminal background, but we have a dad who's got a criminal felony child cruelty charge from 2019, illegal possession of a firearm, and now we have this brother who in 2017 was convicted of murdering his girlfriend named Jalen Amanda Keith. She was 27 years old. And I'm going to give you guys a trigger warning for this next part, okay? Because this is going to be a description of some pretty graphic violence. Prosecutors say that the brother knocked his girlfriend unconscious, placed her in the bathtub, then shot her in the forehead while she was shielding himself from blood spatter behind a shower curtain. Basically, he staged the scene to look like a suicide, even telling 911 dispatchers and investigators that Jalen had shot herself while he was asleep. Now, jurors didn't believe him or this story because the evidence didn't really amount to that. Testimony revealed a relationship unraveling under the weight of Beauchassin's alcoholism, prior threats, and Jalen's plans to leave him. Prosecutors presented text messages showing Jalen feared for her safety and had confided in friends about his escalating behavior. And then he fled to Texas. And while there, he was arrested in October of 2017. He went to court, and a jury later convicted him of first-degree murder, and he was sentenced to 50 years in prison, which is where he is serving right now. Now, there's something else that you guys might have seen if you were in here watching the video when the parents were up there with their fake crocodile tears. In my opinion, fake crocodile tears. A lot of y'all's opinions as well. There's something that you might have noticed. They were holding a piece of paper that looked like, sorry, can we do it? There you go. This one on the screen. Okay. Looked like that. And this is a strange missing poster, guys, because early on, this is the flyer that started circulating, but it wasn't from law enforcement. Okay. This one's a little bit different than the original one because it had no, oh, sorry. This is for them. This is the original one by mistake. This one has their contact information on it. If you can see, I'm pointing at it, but my camera's doing mirrored. There you go. It's got their contact information on it, but no contact information for the police. There's also no clothing description, and they used a heavily filtered photo. So nothing that would show him exactly what he looks like, one that had a lot of filters on it. Okay. Officials later confirmed that it wasn't authorized, and that made people more suspicious, right? And again, if you're looking at this photo, this thing, one of the biggest things that people have pointed out is it says missing kid, not missing child, not missing baby, not missing 7-month-old, missing kid. I have never seen, and I've seen a lot of missing posters. I have never seen one that looks like this. Okay. And again, if you're watching on TikTok, you can jump over to YouTube and see this. If you're anywhere else watching this, you're good where you are. Now, initially, the community rallied, right? Vigils were held, flyers were shared, but public support quickly eroded. Did you guys know that the Uvalde, well, you probably didn't know this. I'll tell you all this. The Uvalde Foundation for Kids offered a $5,000 rewards, but they have since withdrawn their involvement, saying that something's not right in this picture. Something's not right with this situation. And obviously, they are not alone in feeling this way. All right. I'm going to show you guys a quick timeline for those y'all coming in late or whatever. I'll make this a little bigger for you guys. There we go. Here's the timeline. On August 14th, Rebecca reports that Emmanuel's missing. 15th and 16th, police conduct searches. No Amber Alert issued. On the 17th, she refuses a polygraph and cuts off all communication. On the 18th, public vigils are held. Community begins asking tough questions. And on the 19th, investigators confirm they can't rule out foul play and parents are no longer cooperating. And the 19th, for anybody watching this later, is today. So where is Emmanuel Haro? Well, we don't know. We don't know. And at this point, we're not even sure who to trust. But one thing is clear. A baby is missing, and the silence from those close to him speaks louder every single day. Now, here's the thing. If you came in late to this, this is on YouTube. If you would rather not go to YouTube because you have something against it, I did a whole article talking about this in actually a little bit more detail, which if you're watching this on YouTube, it is in the link is in the description for it, but you can go to JustinTheNickOfCrime.substack.com if you want to see that. And if you're there, try to give it a follow because that's appreciated. And if you have thoughts, questions, or theories on this one, definitely drop those in the comments as well. And if you want to stay updated as the story develops, of course, make sure, no matter what platform you're watching on, because I'll post on all of them, make sure to like, follow, subscribe, whatever it is, turn on notification. Now, there are a few big stories that are coming out this week that we need to make videos on and probably do some of these more medium form videos like this one on as well. One of them is the Menendez brothers. You guys know that I've been covering that for a while. Their parole hearing is this week. It's in like 2 days. I can't remember. I think Lyle goes, I can't remember if it's Lyle or Eric goes first, but one goes first. The other one goes the next day. And that's going to be this week. And that's something that a lot of people are watching, no matter whether you feel they should be released or you feel they need to stay there. A lot of people are watching this as one of the most infamous true crime cases in existence. And after 35 years in prison, they are looking at parole because of a lot of recent changes. There's also the 10 teens that were murdered, allegedly murdered their friends that have been arrested in South Carolina. I need to give you guys a video on that. That's kind of like this one that kind of catches you up if you missed all of that. And then also, there's a lot of information that I came across recently about the Scream murder, which some of y'all might remember. It's an older, very, very tragic case involving a 16-year-old girl and her friends. And we have some footage that we can condense into that. So I'm going to be doing a lot of those here if you guys want to see that. But we are also going to continue to cover this one. So lots of reasons to follow along. Now, that being said, guys, I appreciate you guys hanging out today, learning. Drop things in the comments, questions. I will see you guys next time. Bye, y'all.